What if I told you that the most powerful force shaping your life right now is not your talent, your resources, or your circumstances, but your beliefs? Not the beliefs that you say out loud, but the ones that you have quietly agreed on in your heart. Because here's the truth I want you to remember today. You become what you believe, but only when you come into agreement with it. I'm Sandra Bizatra. I help high-achieving women and teams navigate seasons of transition with spiritual wisdom and practical tools that bring real change. And today, I want to take you to the foundation of the transformation, beliefs, because nothing in your life will change until your beliefs change. Your beliefs are the root of everything. Everything else is the fruit. Beliefs are not just thoughts. Beliefs are agreement. They are the internal contract you sign, sometimes unknowingly and sometimes unconsciously. That's what determines belief. What lens you see your life through, how you interpret the world, what you think you deserve and what you think you don't deserve, how you show up and how you don't show up. A belief is a yes your heart says to and begin to tell a story, the agreement with the story that shapes everything. This is why Proverbs 23:7 says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Notice it didn't say as he thinks in his mind. It is the heart, the place of agreement, identity, and direction. Let me tell you a little bit about my story. I was a refugee child. So when I teach you about beliefs, I'm not teaching from theory. I'm teaching a lived experience. Because as a child, I was physically displaced, uprooted, surrounded by chaos and instability. I was labeled as a refugee, labeled by my circumstances and society. Life tried to hand me certain beliefs, and all of them were correct. But you have to choose what you believe. You are not behind. You are not less than. You don't belong. Your story is already predetermined. You must survive. Those are the things that were handed to me. People expected me to internalize it and become a refugee, that must become my identity. But my geography did not determine my internal identity. I remember thinking, I may be a refugee in location, but I refuse to become one in my mind. I refuse to come into agreement with the narrative society was trying to put on me. I didn't have the language for it then. I didn't understand psychology or mindset, but I understood this. You only become the label if you agree with it. And that decision, the internal decision not to come into agreement, shaped my entire life. It shaped how I saw myself, how I made decisions, how I carried myself, and the woman I've become today, a leader, a mother, and a strategist, because I chose not to come into agreement. Everything changes when you understand this. The enemy does not attack your goals. He attacks your beliefs, because if he can distort your beliefs, he will distort your identity. And once your identity is distorted, your entire life falls apart. You begin to live from a place of distortions. Your beliefs becomes the lenses which interpret everything you see, everything you create, and the story through which you begin to tell the story of your life. It produces patterns of thinking, and the result is this is who I am. I've always been like this. But the entire cycle begins to change because you have come into agreement with a lie. So be careful what you say yes to. You don't need a full teaching today, just a little bit of touch of understanding how powerful your beliefs are. Here's a simple truth. Your beliefs become your lenses. Like glasses, if you wear sunglasses, you see everything in the dark. You believe you are behind in life, you move with urgency. If your inner world is distorted, you begin to tell yourself a story that I am not emotionally stable. Your inner story shapes your emotional signals. Your feelings respond to the story that you are telling yourself, not the facts. Your emotions form your patterns. Fear makes you move from a place of shame and guilt, and it erodes your confidence. Your patterns create your outcome. Every result in your life began as a belief, but again, it is the story that you choose to believe. Agreement becomes the lens, and then the lens, the story, and it's the feelings, the patterns, and the outcome. This is why the mindset work is important. It becomes identity. You need to heal the identity in order to heal yourself and the generations to come. Here's the question every wise woman must ask herself. What have I come into agreement with? Because everything you have agreed with has created the life you are living today. Some agreement you have inherited, some you've absorbed, some were whispered to you, some were spoken over you, some you spoke over yourself, some were formed in survival mode, some were built in trauma, through trauma, and some were passed down. Some you made yourself believe intentionally. But every agreement produces fruit. The good news, you can break the old agreement and build new ones. As you enter the new year, you cannot change your future by changing your hustle or your routine. Those things are important, or your to-do list. Those things matter, but they are not the root that you need to pull out. Your beliefs are the root. Your outcomes are the fruit. And here's the mindset shift I want you to walk away with. You become what you believe when you come into agreement with it. If you change the agreement, you change the lens. If you change the lens, you change the story. And if you change the story, you change the feelings. If you change the feelings, you change your patterns. And if you change your patterns, you change your life. If this resonates with you, remember to share it with someone else. And I want you to walk away thinking that the story of your life can be changed. It doesn't matter how you started. It is what you choose to do in between that will determine how your life ends. You get to decide how the story ends by changing your belief system and by going to the root of the story and to rewrite a different story. Share your opinion with me in your comment. What stood out the most for you? I would love to hear from you. Until next time, I want you to live boldly and bravely in your calling.